No, I forgot. So good morning. I did not hit the YouTube one. So since I'm doing both, I kind of have it click between both. So when I start, it doesn't look as stupid. So on YouTube, it has everything. Oh my goodness. But no, so normally I'm more on top of it, but I could not sleep for the life of me tonight. Like last night, I went to bed at a decent time. I was really trying this time, and man, my body was just, I could not sleep all night. And then so by the time I finally woke up, it was one of those groggy mornings that were not fun. But we are here now. And normally what I'll do is I'll go through a bunch of different art in the morning, peep art station, kind of just run through some cool stuff for the day to get the creative juices flowing, right? Sometimes I'm on top of it and I get to it beforehand, and sometimes, like today, I do it while talking. Um, it's hard because ArtStation, when you look through ArtStation, which, you know, for those watching right now, I used to go through ArtStation live and I had that up as well. However, there are a lot of things that people do not mark NSFW when they post to ArtStation, and it ends up a little risque. So, you know, that's a behind the curtain kind of piece. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, right? Spicy stream just because there might be some breasts or something popping out on ArtStation. Okay, okay. So normally I just crank through a bunch. So let's see what we got here today. Um, I'll do that later, but didn't have Spotify up. Um, as usual, I've just been cranking through some lo-fi stuff. If you ever wonder, it's sock ramen. Caught the guy on Reddit, talked to them a bunch about their work. Don't have a lot of followers, as you see. Their YouTube page doesn't have a ton either, but it's real chill, and I like it. Okay, so who is this? Roman Novikov. Okay, Portal. I didn't even. I literally looked at this and I didn't even realize that it's just Portal. There's GLaDOS. I'm blanking. Oh my god, what's the? I feel like someone seen you would know who. Gordon, right? Dude from Half Life. Can't remember his first name. Does he have a first name? Yeah, but what's it? Something Gordon. Alan, Aardvark, Gordon. Obviously, Gordon Ramsay. What a fool! I'm an idiot sandwich. For the annual calendar, Hobby World. Oh, that's cool. Is that a thing that this person makes, or is this Gordon Freeman? Thank you. I basically had it. We both had it. Ooh, I don't know if I've ever seen this person's work, but already just looking at this right now, I love it. I absolutely love this. That hard red rim light, and the fact that they made like this green glow kind of energy, but it's just coming from their mouth. I like that a lot. That is super clean. It does have Mike Mignola vibes for sure. Anything with like hard shadows like that and red, my brain does usually just go there and then breaks down further. But yeah, it definitely still has that like heavy inked style for sure. This is like, oh, I still have not seen Romulus. I wanted to watch all of the old Alien movies. I love them. I've watched the Alien movies a billion times. For some reason, they're like my comfort movie. Like when I need something to throw on that's like a comfort thing, I put on Alien. I have no idea why. Um, Not a very comforting film. But that said, I wanted to watch it with Amy and go through everything, but we got through the first two movies before Romulus came out, and that's where we stopped. Mainly because the third movie I don't like, Alien 3, was lame. And since we stopped at 3, I was like, every time we'd be like, oh, we could watch it. I was like, yeah, we could. I think what I need to do, one of my buddies reminded me that maybe I just watch um, Prometheus and the other one. I'm blanking on that name too. The two prequel Alien films, then basically. And those will be easier. So I can just pump those out. She already has a vibe now of like, Sigourney Weaver's energy in the later movies. Or the early movies, but later timeline. So I think that's what we'll do. But again, I don't watch enough movies. So saying, oh yeah, I'll watch 2 movies, that's like, I don't know, maybe in 6 months we'll finish that. Ooh, I like this. That's creepy, but very cool. I always love the like look beneath or inverted world kind of energy. And this looks like super cute and playful. And then you're like, oh, maybe not. Does this person work on anything? Man, lately, if you are from anywhere in like Russia or Poland, I just like that's all ArtStation's been for me. Like if you look back at any of the old VODs or anything, like I feel like 90% of the time when I stumble on somebody on ArtStation, they're from Russia or the European Union there. And I'm just like, they're doing something right. That's for sure. The mustache is good. Baby Hellboy? I don't think. Oops, can't type. Hellboy Jr. or this? Like Hellboy Baby? I don't like these little 3D models, I can tell you that much. That just came up. I don't like any of these things. These make me feel some sort of way, and it's not a good thing. Hellboy can stay an adult, I think. Yeah, it's just the bell. I'm sure the comic may be cute, but I don't know if I'm about that life. Which I was going to. So today, there's something to bring up too that I wanted to show. So TMNT Naruto Volume 2 came out today. I thought it came out last week, and so new comic books are Wednesdays. And so on Wednesday, I was like, crap, I'm not gonna be able to go. But on the weekend, I was like, oh, we'll totally go. We'll get the new Naruto TMNT Volume 2 because Volume 1 came out like months ago, and I had a couple other back burner things like I've got Absolute Batman and The Moon is Following Us and Grommets and a couple other things that I'm reading. But I got there and it was like, oh no, man, that's next week. I was like, son of a, where did I read at one point? I swore it was this week. But anyway, um, the art in this book is so fun. And comics normally have like a ton of variants, right, for their covers. But like, how many? This one had so many. And are they all bangers? No, absolutely not. But like, is it? I love seeing so many different variants. Why can't I see just all the variants? Well, you can see just scrolling here. There's a ton. I don't even remember seeing this one with a shredder. Dope. These are always boring. Like I get when people want these kind of things, but come on, really? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that to yourself? But no, this comic is absolutely fantastic so far. The first issue, I I loved it. It's funny. The art is absolutely top notch. I just, yeah. And I've talked about it before that like something about the Ninja Turtles are just the best because any crossover makes sense because the whole thing with Ninja Turtles is it's a trans-dimensional thing. So like when there's crossovers with Ninja Turtles, it's just like, yep, that makes sense. Like you don't even have to question it. But anyway, so I wanted to go to a comic shop today. Woke up and it's snowing, and I do not feel like going out in that. I already had to go out in feels like -25 yesterday. So I probably won't be doing that. How did I not click follow? Come on. Forgot to do one quick thing. Ugh. That's, yeah. The weather here is just been, I don't even know. I don't even know what you call it lately. I thought we were over with it. Like when the weather was gone. Oh, talk about NSFW. Boink. The cold was gone and I woke up this morning being like, can't wait to have a not freezing gross day. And then I looked out the window and I saw a freezing gross day with snow. See, so this kind of stuff doesn't do it for me. Like I get they're trying to sell the concept, but like I don't some of this stuff I don't know. It's very photo bashy and rough 3D models too, which isn't bad. I just not my thing. Though the design itself is absolutely adorable. I love this like almost like a hobbit hole, but not because it's under a tree. But it's by water. So logistically I don't understand this in any way, shape, or form. Maybe the house is like built out of the roots. And then the roots are I don't know. We don't need to know the logic, but it's pretty cool looking stuff. Just some basic. It does very much look like God of War with Freya's house. I can see that. Just need a turtle walking around, yeah. Oh, God of War. Yet another game I never finished. I finished the first new one, just not Ragnarok. Ragnarok took was an unlucky turn for me. That came out at a weird time that I just had so many other things going on that I ended up playing it for a week here and there, like little by little, and then I barely got anywhere. Like I just didn't. How to draw, how to paint rock.
Making it look more 3D. As we've created a clip, just trying to make some a little bit more realistic.
Okay.
Place all these
I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'll throw this. I mean, I always like to see what other people's processes are and stuff, so I'll add this to my watch later. I'm putting it off screen so you don't see all my weird watch later um playlists. They're not weird. It's literally just WL something. So like I've got WL video games, WL art, WL toys, WL Marvel Rivals, WL content creation. Like it's not weird. Or maybe it is. You don't know. And you'll never know. Oh, they did concepts for Crackdown. Not gonna lie, that picture at first glance, I thought this person was like super, super young. But if they did stuff for Crackdown 3, that was quite some time ago. Very, very geometric, a lot of these block-ins. Oh, we got another big old tree. Yeah, I like the other one more. It's always so calming though, looking at like the fantasy landscape. Something about it just is relaxing that I feel like you can just kind of not this. This isn't relaxing. This looks creepy. I take it back. Not everything. I said fantasy landscapes. Like this. I don't need to know what's going on. It's probably horrible to live in this place because It usually is in these stories, but very calming. Even like gross areas sometimes when they're just painted so soft and the lighting looks so organic, it just feels relaxing. Even though this is a study from Resident Evil, he said, but Resident Evil can be calming. Alien is my calming movie, so you know, weirder things can happen. Oh, we got some more Eldritch weird stuff. So a parasite night. Miyazaki's Poison Swamps. Yeah, that I got Stockholm syndrome. But if only like that means I need the world to be lagging like 10 times over. So like everything I do is delayed and stuff as well. Then it'll feel. Oh, Bone Dust. I know. I follow this person on I think a different, probably Instagram or something, because I do recall this style. So it's always interesting too. So like if we look at this person's stuff, their shadow, right? Obviously they're alluding to some shadow, but they don't really do shadow. They just do straight inking. So the shadow is black, and if it's not shadow, it's kind of just the normal color, right? Like yeah, there's a little bit of here and there has some, but for the most part, the shadows are heavily just the inks, which as of right now, that's part of my problem right now is I keep bouncing back and forth between every way I feel like painting. And every painting I've done now of characters feels and looks different from the last. And I don't know. Oh, I'm trying my best over here. Favorite mugs. $5 at Target, like a year ago. Best $5 ever. Ooh, multi-armed characters get me too. Give me some Goro. Always looks cool. Always, always, always. Multi-armed, but I don't know about this arm. It looks like um I get the idea and I get the visual language they're selling us here. It looks cool. But it's hard not to picture my strong hand from Scary Movie. Cool. Definitely give this one a follow though, because this is someone I follow elsewhere, and I've been trying not to use Instagram or anything meta related now. I stopped using Twitter a billion years ago. Um I wish there was like this has become my new Instagram. Like there's not much else for me to cruise art as easily. And even Instagram was getting pretty crappy. Their algorithm was busted. There were so many negatives. Let's just say there's negatives with Instagram. Oh, I like this. It looks like Nightmare from Soul Calibur if he just went like full on monster. Um but yeah, no, so there's no like I've been using Blue Sky, but Blue Sky is still kind of not quite where I want it to be yet, but it's getting there. But there's nothing really as like an Instagram alternative. There's Kara, but that never really took off. It's hard with any of these social media things, like until it becomes like readily used by everybody, it's hard to really make it happen. And so that's the problem with these multi mega gajillionaire companies now. They've already got the people. My mom uses Instagram. My grandma uses it. You know what I mean? Like, man, I really am digging all these things though. Kind of reminds me too, like I've got a bunch of art up in the office by Crom. Um they've got that heavy ink style too, but I like the way that they do this where they'll like They'll do some halftones, yes, but also do a lot of like messy inking. This one, their blacks feel black, like they just dropped it in, which isn't. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's a difference, right? Like it is black and black and black. Whereas on here, I really love. Is there? I, I just said I don't want to go to Instagram or Twitter, and it links me to Instagram and Twitter. Crap. Maybe there's just some good images. But like their inking has more energy, I guess is the word that I'm trying to get at. Their inking has definitely a lot more life to it or movement, which just gives a little bit more oomph, which I like. And their colors are weird. Like that's one thing that stands out that like they take colors sometimes that are like not quite what you're expecting or very like stark contrast. Oh, that's some fan art of this. And this is an ArtStation link? Yes. Okay. Finish this. Go back to this new guy. Pretty cool. I like the Bird King thing the most. I don't know how to follow on this, so too bad. Okay, we're here. I've been trying. So my goal's been generally like by 11, I'm done cruising through art. And I talk too much, so usually it bleeds over, and then it bleeds over, and then I don't finish drawing until like 1 o'clock, and then I'm super hungry, and I'll complain about it. Yeah, sexy wizard ladies, half-baked mages. This seems uncomfortable. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'd want magic ice spike breasts. But you know, maybe you do. And if you do, who's to stop you? Yeah, for real, pack issues. Like these are just some like kind of shop back designs. I do like this though. I am a sucker for big hats, right? Big hats get me, but also like crap hanging from hats because it's so not practical and dumb. Like, why would you ever actually have this? Why? To accidentally poke you in the eye? What benefit does this like? It's not actual armor. If it hits it, it's just poking you in the eye. Dumb, but also really cool looking. So you know what? I can't not like that then because of that. Oh, I know. Sometimes the oh, so I was joking the one day, because obviously there's terms that being an old fart I don't use, right? So like the fact that like Riz has become a thing, and at work my girlfriend came back home one day and told me a story where someone, I can't remember what they did, but it reminded her of a character, and she called this person Riz. She's like, "Oh, you trying to be Riz or something like that?" to this person, not realizing she meant Roz from Monsters Inc. And so she just called somebody Riz at work, and I'm sure they were just like, "Oh, okay, weirdo." They probably would have thought she was weird, even if they knew it was a Disney reference, because usually not a lot of the people catch them. Yeah, the ultimate boomer status achieved. This is pretty stuff. I like this. This hard shadow looks good. Oh, I do always like when you see a picture and you think it's one, and then you scroll and you realize there's more. It's like a little pleasant surprise. It seems weird whenever people have to do concept work for League of Legends, knowing that like you always have to just draw everything from that weird high ass, almost bird's eye view camera. Some of these are kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, some of these are getting kind of strange. Ooh, These are clean though. Mainly Echo. Echo's my boy. I can't wait for the 2x KO to come back. I need to play. Okay, so this, I saw this, and I know this was a game because I saw, yeah, let's watch this on YouTube. So I saw this pop up on Steam, I think, the other day, and I wanted to look at what it was because it looked pretty. Is this the actual game though, or not? I thought this was a game. Am I just wrong? Did I totally? Am I? Wait. Maybe not. Holy cow! I am like, for real. What the heck? I swore I saw this on Steam yesterday. Ooh. That's why I clicked on it here, because I was like, oh, there's that thing from Steam. Well, I'm an idiot, I guess. I don't even... Well, that's embarrassing. Either way, it looks cool. More heavy ink style here, but more with stippling, which is pretty nice. Yeah, I feel real dumb now. Either way, if I didn't mention it enough the past couple days, I love, since I'm here on Steam, you know, might as well shill it out. Orcs Must Die, right? Orcs Must Die is a really, I've loved that game since it came out way billion years ago. This is the 5th entry in the series now. It's Orcs Must Die Death Trap. And it's a like a third person shooter tower defense game. And I've always loved these games. The third game, technically the 4th in series, but the third, Orcs Must Die 3, I like. That was one that I was like, I'm straight platinuming this. I'm playing it every day. I put way too much time in. And so this new one comes out Tuesday. And you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be streaming this Tuesday afternoon for my gaming time. I am super excited for it. This one looks more, they announced that it's going to be kind of like everything, the idea of like procedurally generated a bit more, or a little bit more like roguelite aspects to it. But I honestly, when you like a game, you just don't look into it. That's my rule. Like, if I like a game and I know I'm sold on it anyway, why do I need to look into it? I'm gonna get it. So I'd rather just be surprised and excited for that in the moment, rather than be like specifically thinking, oh, this is gonna be good or this isn't gonna be bad, certain aspects of a game. But if I just know, hey, I like the game, I'm gonna groove with it. I feel like it feels much more like back in the day, right? I would get my magazines, and that was my source of news. I didn't have, I mean, we had like GameFAQ forums that started kind of a little bit, and then GameSpot's early website and IGN's early websites. But even predating their websites with just magazines, you would see the magazines, you'd see an ad at Toys R Us, and you'd just be excited for the game, right? You're just excited to see the game. I mean, I think I looked at the calendar. I think I'm almost 10 trillion years old now, actually. It just, time keeps on ticking, and my body just keeps clicking, you know? That's the way. But yeah, so if you go into it with just like, because I feel like people go into it with too much expectations now with games, or they critique a game before it's even in their hands. And I don't know, that loses a lot of the fun, the mystery. Oh, it's the shoulder, it's the knee, it's the neck, and the collarbone that clicks now. And this wrist. This wrist is just constantly clicking. So it's easier, actually, I think, at this point, the older I've gotten, to list the few parts that don't make those kind of noises anymore. But, you know, who's to judge? But anyway, so it looks like I'm playing Marvel Rivals. I am not. I normally just boot this up to get the character models to take a peek, but then I always get distracted and look at like where I am, like status wise, in terms of like battle pass and stuff, because I haven't seen it. I will talk about this outfit one more time, just because it's so gorgeous, and Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters to play. But I also just can't bring myself to buy it, because when you play, it just looks like there's just like, talk about a wizard sleeve, but it's just like, it's everywhere. Like, it's so much movement. And already when you play as him, if you look up, it gets hella distracting if you're jumping and moving and looking up as Doctor Strange because there's so much cloth just obscuring your vision. But man, is it good. And there is actually, oh, dang it, I'm talking about stuff. I got to bring it up. I got to see it. Gots to see it. I think there was leaked. It was, I was typing in YouTube. Marvel Rivals Doctor Strange skin leak. It was this one. There was some leaked footage of a zombie Doctor Strange. And so that makes me not want to really buy anything for Doctor Strange right now because I'm going to immediately buy that. Like, not even questioning that. That's just like, oh yeah, I own this now. This is mine. Like, so it's hard to want to buy a different skin knowing that's going to be an immediate buy. And also you get the Battle Pass one from last season. And it looks pretty dope anyway. Though this one is pretty cool too. But I'm not made of money. But no, so I like just pull this up. So I've got reference of the costumes and things that I'm looking at. And it's just right there. I don't have to really deal with anything. It's something to pop up on the screen. I know what I'm looking at, like quite literally. And normally I'm almost done with my coffee. But I feel like I'm just starting it. Today was a weird one. Okay. I went downstairs earlier and I was searching all over because normally I'll stream up here and then during the evening I'll grab my iPad and I keep the night. There's two artboards. I like the one artboard more and I keep that downstairs now for drawing downstairs. And I swore I did that last night and I was searching this morning. I was like, crap, where is the iPad? It's not in the board. It's not charging. I didn't draw last night. It was sitting right here on the desk. And I was like, oh, it was exactly where it needed to be. You know, an iPad is never late, but precisely there when it needs to be. So, just kidding. The new iPad is late. Give me a new iPad. This thing is old as, not as old as me, but the iPad is clicking. I'll say that. So what I do, for those that don't know, I have this giant artboard and I click it into an Ergotron arm. And then that arm with the artboard, and then boop, I drop the iPad in it to slightly help the massive clicking in my shoulder and other things. So at least it's a little ergonomic, slightly, maybe. I don't know. It's better than the other thing that I was using when I first started. That was basically like an laptop stand because it's so little, and I felt like I became like a hunchback trying to use it. So I'm not quite sure what I feel like doing today because honestly, I wanted to work on Magneto. So there's a couple pieces that I've done now the past couple weeks. So I've got my Reed Richards that I never ended up doing like cleaner inks or doing anything with. I just kind of left him here. That was where I left him. And then same with Malice. I kind of just left her here. Almost done, right? She's closer than Reed by far, but also still not done. And then now I've got Magneto. And like I said, I've been having like a coloring crisis where I don't know how to paint. Like I don't know what I want to do. Everything I do, like if we look back, like I've been trying for the longest time to like hammer out. So at first I was doing stuff like this a lot, where I almost eliminated line art entirely. I like it, wasn't loving it, but it was fun. It worked, right? Kept it a little sketchy. But then I tried to get cleaner and I was doing stuff like this, where like it is a much cleaner line, kind of like we talked about earlier, where like a lot of the shadows are just thick inks, right? But I feel like that works for like Akuma here, but I don't know. It's time consuming in a way that I'm trying to find a happy medium of efficiency and visuals. And so, like, as you can see, everything's been going through. Like, then I tried, like, what if I just keep super sketchy lines? This was something I never posted, but this looked cool. I was happy with how this was turning out. Kind of dark. The idea of Akuma just grabbing Ryu by the face and dragging him. But I like how, like, this wasn't looking bad. I liked this idea. But again, I'm indecisive and I switch between things. And then I was like, okay, what if for like this stuff, I did like super clean, right? Super clean, hard shadows, and nothing else, right? I just left it like that. So the highlights are built into just the base of it. And if I needed a highlight, I could always maybe go in. But like something like this, I didn't really do highlights, right? I just chose 2 colors with, again, heavy line art. Same with Zangief. And did I like the way this looked? 100%. I'm not saying I didn't. I think these turned out pretty cool. But I also, like I said, I want efficiency. And so then I tried doing a little more ink, but like looser with this bison piece. Didn't hit me the same then. Then I was like, okay, heck with it. Back to the old style of like playful lines and just keeping it colorful. Didn't like that either. And then I went to doing that same idea, but giving a little more texture, a little bit more playfulness. Also didn't like it. And then this doesn't even count because this was I was trying to play up the old Steamboat Willie style. So that doesn't count, but like still the two-tone though is what I was doing, if you notice. It was just base color and shadow. And then the blacks were actually no shadow. It was just black. But again, that was more so referencing the original style. And this bad boy didn't even get close to finished, right? It looks like it, but then I stopped because I didn't know how I wanted to paint him. So again, a lot of indecision. Then I did some studies with some watercolor with our boy Jeff. And I liked it. And I said, wow, watercolor's pretty neat. Let me do a whole Jeff of him. And then I said, screw that. I don't know. Watercolors just don't jive with me. So now here we are sitting on Magneto. And I wanted to color him today, but I also feel like when I color on stream, when I don't know what I'm doing, when someone tunes in, they're like, what is this idiot doing? He doesn't know what he's doing. Because I'm like learning on the fly in a not engaging manner. So for now, I think I'm just going to fix the hand at least right now. Because the hand bothered me. And I never fixed it yesterday because I didn't have time. But the hand is ugly and I don't like it. So we are going to try and fix that now. Forgot to plug in my phone. I realize half the time when I get off stream that when I've got other back burner things running on my phone, it'll be like dead. Ugh. So with the hand, his fist hand just was not, I couldn't get it to look the way I wanted. I don't know why it kept looking weird, but it did, and it still does. So, and it's also not to scale. So if we look at the 2 hands, I forgot I did this. I started this with just these base rings, and then I just drew on top of it. Don't need those rings anymore. Goodbye. And then I don't even know what these original, then that was the original sketch. Don't need that anymore either. Goodbye. Cool. So we just have the two layers, which this doesn't really need to be. But anyway, so his hand here, if we look at this guy, this hand versus this hand, proportions don't line up, right? The one that's closer to us is surprisingly smaller. So I would like to remedy that by doing both, making this bigger and the other one smaller. So I kind of want to take the whole forearm and feel what it would look like just a little higher and a little bigger. And by higher, I mean it goes higher just because it's getting bigger, but then kind of chunk it just a smidge. Because I've talked about before on stream the idea that like you don't want things all to be the exact same size. So unfortunately right now all three of these, hand, and head, all kind of look like the same. So to remedy that, we can maybe shrink the head now. Or maybe we still crank up the arm even more. Let's again, over-tune your guitar and then tune it back, right? So let's over-tune this bad boy to real big and see, is it dumb? Not really, surprisingly. It's a little big. But it gives like a nice oomph to the whole thing then. Again, it feels, his armor on this feels so Infinity Gauntlet-y to me. Yeah, I kind of like that being way bigger then. And then now this area got a little messy with his tassels, but easy fix. So now we are running into what I always hate, where we've got too much overlap. So it muddies the silhouette. So what we can do is just fudge it so that goes away a little bit. So there's a little bit of negative space right here. Because a lot of times where there isn't something, that is arguably more important than where there is. Because when you have so much busyness, so much overlap, it gets just gross. And already we've got his hand down here obscured and way too cluttered. So let's, like I said, make this guy... I didn't like the way this hand turned out anyway. And I hate being that person that's like, just hide it. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hide it. Just a little. Just obscure the pinky area, because I don't know why that pinky was looking dumb and I don't feel like redrawing it. But if you don't tell, I won't either. And it'll look like it was just a purposeful, like, positioning. And it was just happenstance that it was down there, obscured to such an extent. Ooh, so this is going to get dirty down here. So let's do my thing where I will take this piece, crank it onto a new layer, and then I don't have to mess with it being too messy, because I can easily erase just, oops, the pieces we need, right? So as a new layer, that won't hinder the underlying pieces. We shrink it. We pull it real close to his body. I feel like real close does kind of... So the further away, the more like casual it feels. The tighter in, the more like aggressive that feels, kind of, that he's really like pulling that arm back. So again, making note of tangents and stuff though too. Great. The world knows I'm a failure. I'm a fluke. I'm a phony. That I'm one of those artists that says, let's hide the hands. But I love the hands. I just didn't love this one, and I didn't care to redo it. If you go back, there's with the Reed Richards, I actually do a whole breakdown on drawing hands, and my easy cheat way of doing it anyway, which includes just taking a friggin' picture of your hand. You've got reference right here. Just take a picture of it in the position you want, slap it on there, and use that as reference, like built-in reference to your actual body. The thing that draws the thing, aka your hand, is the reference for your hand. How easy is that? But I didn't feel like taking a picture of my hand, so instead I just struggled with Magnus's right here and said, maybe I'll just hide it instead. Okay, so that doesn't look terrible now that we kind of just shrunk it down to. I feel like there was too much attention being drawn to the hand anyway. And this hand is just a supporting actor, right? Not even this hand isn't even a supporting actor. This hand is like an extra, right? They're just in the background of the scene. I wouldn't even call them one of the they're not even in the credits. Pinky was a little long. It's digital, so I can be lazy and just cut it. So here's where my brain breaks when I'm drawing, and I'm like, why can I not erase this? And it's because I forgot I swapped over, and this is a different layer. So since we're here anyway on this layer, now I can kind of clean up this spot so I can see what the heck I'm looking at. Okay. Cleaned it. Not much, but armor. That we learned all about his weirdly detailed armor yesterday. And then overly simplified it for this arm because we gave enough detail to the gauntlet earlier, on the other hand. Now this hand, they're in the credits, you know what I mean? They've got an IMDb page. The other hand, not so much. Okay. That actually reads a lot better now. I think that small change between the hands does go a long way. Oh crap, but now this thing. His rings of power are obscured. Adriel. Okay. It does look a little weird now, because I built these pieces to visually fit with what I already had before. So again, now we're running into a lot of weird tangent pieces. So I do want to just adjust this. Like we was talking about, unfortunately, there's a lot of like push and pull. If I make a change, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to reassess that change because it'll have a ripple effect. Like you're working on a piece of art. It doesn't exist in like every piece is all intrinsically linked to one another. So it's nothing's in a vacuum. So if I change the hand, you have to be aware that you might want to take a peek back then and see, oh crap, did that change the energy of the rings behind it or the shoulder pad? Or maybe the flow of the cape doesn't look as good now because it's going to obscure that part. You know, there's always something. And I feel like it's a pain in the butt, but worth it because it really, that kind of, you can tell when somebody changes something and then they don't change the surrounding pieces because some things just don't feel right then. So since I did delete my template rings, I'm struggling here because I don't know the exact curve because I'm an idiot and I probably should have kept those template rings for just this instance, but I think it's okay. Ish. What if we just shrink it instead of making it even moving the angle? Then we can always give maybe there's not much space here, but what if we give like a single extra little curve? I don't know. I might delete this. Just curious. It feels super empty there. So I kind of want some sort of connectivity. The beauty of these weird rings, and when you do stuff like this, where it's relatively like an obscure abstraction of a shape like this, like where it's like, oh, it's a big old halo behind him. What's the again? I couldn't think of it yesterday. It's like something halo in Warhammer, the thing behind him. basically one of those, right? But it's also made up of a bunch of chunks of crap. So like, can you really do it wrong? Yes, but you've got to do it really wrong for it to be bad. This does not look curved enough now. Again, what a fool I was for saying I don't need these templates anymore that I made. Always save the templates. Because I just said you're going to have to do push and pull. Why is this still not liquefy? Cool. I wonder if we get rid of this now. Yeah, so the hand breathes a little bit. That negative space here then also breathes. Cool. That's fine, because this, in his ring, when it does open up, there are pieces that are less dense. So like my argument is this is just the less dense little spot as things are rotating a little bit. You know, my argument for my own head that no one's going to argue with me about. I think his face was fine, right? All the details look like they're there enough. I guess we can reassess these little tassels kind of now. We're done playing with the hand, so it can all be one again. So we can kind of not make them too long. But since now that you can actually see again where these are, they're getting too long though. I feel like I really want them to recede in space. So if we make them, there we go. Just something like that. So like what I did is I'll just erase into the shape I want it to be. And then you can play with the edges more and break it up and give it individual, like a little bit of identity for each one. But then the overall shape is there, right? You don't have to, yeah. You don't have to do too much work. Though this looks really messy. So let me clean this so I have an idea of where each tassel exists in space. So these are all receding away from us. So these, the rope lines will be curved as if just like that, they're moving away in space. The little details like that are what make things too that like so imagine someone who doesn't know art is looking at something, right? There's always going to be if something doesn't look right, they're not going to know why. So I always use my girlfriend as a test subject. Though the problem is, over the years now, she's getting a lot better at visualizing stuff, which is awesome. I love that, right? But also it throws me off because I used to use her as like a sounding board for the like uninitiated, right? So like, oh, she's not like she's not like a 2D artist or 3D artist. She does cute crafts and other stuff like that, but like I always use that as like, oh, what do you think looks wrong? But she's gotten better now at pointing out what looks wrong and why. So what I used to use her as like okay, what do you think looks wrong? What can I fix? Now all of a sudden she's critiquing me. I just wanted to know the energy, but she's too good. She's learning. She's growing. She's gonna be streaming her own art. So would we see like a little bit of arm then maybe coming back? It just feels really empty now, this space. And I feel like we would see something, right? If we see this much shoulder, I feel like we'd see something. So either we get rid of, I know, right? Burdened by my own success. I've made her into I've made a monster. That's the gym, man. So I used to go to the gym all the time, even before I met my girlfriend now, who of 4.5 years. And that's like my thing. And I've slowly gotten her to go more and more and more. Now that's part of her existence. Like she needs to go lift. And I joke that like I've created a little monster. She's stronger than me now. Like in every aspect. She's an absolute beast in the best way. She's strong. But she's also little. So she's strong as hell now. And gets so frustrated because people assume like a 5'4" small girl not to be jacked and super strong, but lo and behold, she'll rip off her sleeves of her shirt and be like, "Let's go," and people are like, "Oh, I see this now. Strong indeed." So I'm gonna play with this shoulder for just a second, and then probably call it quits with him. Feels weird. Now that I got rid of, like I made the arm so small, or the hand so small, I feel like I want this to be lessened too. So that sells his receding in space more, that his body's like fully twisting. Because I feel like what we had before doesn't accentuate the twist as much. So let's even play with a wrinkle to maybe help with that. Sometimes wrinkles can tell the story that your like perspective is having a difficult time achieving. Again, everything's connected, so now the collar feels weird because it doesn't line up. So we can drop the collar. Can adjust that in a second to make sure it all, looks like it would line up enough. So I'm doing a lot of Marvel Rivals stuff right now. But I know someone in chat right now is a big Monster Hunter individual, and I know that time is coming soon, the new Monster Hunter game. So I feel like at one point I'll need to do something. Got to draw some Monster Hunter stuff sooner than later for the celebration of that game coming out. Will I play that game? Nope. Dodo Gamma. Who is Dodo Gamma? Or what? Who or what? I guess that's always the question when it comes to Monster Hunter, seeing as Do. It's hard to type with my board here. Dodo Gamma. It says Dodo Gamma plush right away, so I'm assuming it's something cute. What am I looking at? What is this? What the heck is this thing? It is the chunkiest of lizards. I like how it looks like he's got like pretty strong arms and legs, right? To propel him and move him. But so is this stomach lore related then? Like is it like does it hold some sort of like is that like where it holds gas or liquid or something like that to like use as a defense mechanism? Okay. It's chunky because chunky. That's a fair. We don't need logic. Yeah, this is super goofy looking. I'm cool with this. Maybe yeah, maybe this will be one of the the pieces I'll draw. Maybe that would be fun. So normally I don't. He eats molten rocks and shoots them. Okay. So that makes sense. He needs like a little spot to store them, right? And also that the lore makes sense then too, because that mouth looks like it's like charred kind of too, and it's been like almost volcanic. That's cool. Maybe, yeah, what I'll do is I don't draw creatures much, right? Like I love human anatomy and I love designing stuff like that and posing. Creatures are hard for me, man. Like creatures are tough because you can do nothing wrong, but also it can be very wrong. Like sometimes that kind of stuff is the hardest for me. But that would be fun. Maybe instead of doing characters, come Monster Hunter or Wild time, I do a couple fun little goofy guys. Odo. Man, Clifford the Big Red Dog? Odo Garon. Oh, wait. This was in the other mod. I remember this character. Because he was in like a lava level, right? I think. This looks very familiar. I swore I fought this thing before. I don't like the face. The face reminds like some of these pictures of the face reminds me of oh my goodness, the bone rot. Okay, that's what it was. So is this probably a picture kind of where it was? I do remember this. Yeah, it wasn't lava, you're right. Because wasn't there like a weird dragon thing there too in the bone rot area? I didn't play this game enough, but I played it enough to have at least some memory of it. But no, his face reminds me of oh my gosh, what is the never-ending story? The dog. Isn't like Artemis or something? Not Artemis. No, not the wolf, I guess. Sorry. Gamork. You know, that's kind of the same name I was thinking of, right? I don't know why when I see this, like this guy, my brain just thinks of Gamork. And it might be just because it horrified me as a child. But like this face, I think of this face. That's a fair assessment. Like that's not too far off. It's similar vibes. It's got the big like the teeth, both bottom and top, like monstrous canines. And I think that's probably that. And then the fact that the eyes are very like glowy and in shadow. Yeah, that's I don't feel as crazy then. I like when I look stuff up and I'm like, I'm not crazy, right? This does make sense. And it does. It does make sense. But of course, alas, no other dog, wolf, good boy exists greater than Sif. Forever and always. Our beloved. Absolutely the greatest. I almost that statue by First Four Figures. He is the goodest boy. I don't even know if like good that doesn't even do him justice. He is the boy. He just transcends everything. But so this statue, for those that don't know, this is huge for the record. This First Four Figure one, like this is a bigums. Um, so you can see the pre-orders went back up. This is an old statue from years ago. First Four Figures does absolutely astonishing work. I know a handful of people who have a lot of their things, the Darksider stuff in particular, and these are just stunning pieces. I wish there was a picture of for scale, like someone had First Four Figures. Let's see if someone has like a picture of it. Yeah, boom. Look at this. Oh, we're going to a YouTube video. Not quite what I wanted, but that gets the imagery. That is huge. I guess I should. I realized this whole time I'm still in my iPad form. There we go. But so this thing's massive. They really have sideshow. It seems so stupid with sideshows. So for those that don't know, sideshow collectibles does literally an apple. Let's go into the career page because I've looked at modeling jobs for them before. They literally just put an apple in the product shot, so you know the scale. Like obviously, oh look, a person with it, but like, sure, give me the cookies. Am I gonna click on the one thing that doesn't have an apple for scale now? That's pretty funny. The one. Have they stopped doing the apples? They used to always do the apples for scale. Is it just on like the big ones then maybe? They used to always have the apple for scale. Oh my gosh, I think it's end of an era. They've removed the apples now. Okay, now they have this. Is a can of pop. They've gotten rid of the apple. Who knew? Is that just now? I'm really thrown off. Is this like a thing? Let me get a big one. Like this back row looks pretty big. Oh, that is an awesome base. That's cool as heck. That clay face just, oh, that's really cool. So I think maybe they've just gotten in the habit of like putting it in these scenes now. So they used to just have it exist in like a vacuum, just kind of sitting here, and they'd have an apple right there for scale. But apparently they're trying to be cooler now and look like what it would look like on a desk. Weird. Well, I used this as an example, and I was proven wrong that they don't even apple it anymore. It is the end of an era. Like, I hope I hope Sideshow releases one day and it's like a joke thing. They just model a really nice apple and they sell it, right? It's the Sideshow apple. I'll bite that, you know? Or like a free with purchase, like a little Easter egg thing. Every like, right? I totally. Or that would be adorable. Like, what if like it's like a golden ticket thing. Like, what if every 500 statues shipped comes with a Sideshow apple, right? And it's like that becomes like the hunt for the apple. I'd be cool with that. I would absolutely love that idea because it doesn't feel like you're missing out really by not getting the apple. But if you get that apple, you're a winner. But anyway, yeah. So Sif is huge, and Sif, as you saw, is also huge and expensive. Not a cheap good boy. It's almost $700. And there was a sale actually where it was like 30% off stuff. Right? You just walk around, you make like a necklace out of it, right? You get that apple, the Sideshow apple, and it's just a necklace, right? You rock that sucker, or you go like really weird and make like a hat, or throw back to the original idea. You get a hat, right? The hat with the needless armor. You get a hat, and for every apple you get, you are like just looking pimped out, right? Boom. You get 10 apples, hang them around a hat. Wear that hat, boom, coolest guy ever. Or something. But but yeah, I when this one was up for pre-order again, because this is years ago, the initial build came out, was up for pre-order and was decently, again, I think it was 30% off when it went up because they had a huge sale going on. It was 30% off, and so it was like 400 and something. And my girlfriend was like, well, you're gonna get it, right? I was like, no, I'm not spending almost $400 on it. Like, is it one of the greatest things? Have I talked about it all the time? Yes. Do I have anywhere to put that sucker? No. Our house is full of figures and art and all of that. There's not much room for anything that big. But yeah, their stuff is really fun, to say the least. Really cool looking stuff. Yeah, probably quite similar. The life size girl, oh man. So we have, I don't know if there's a toy show that I go to here in Illinois. It's one of the biggest toy shows in the US, actually. It's the Kane County Fairgrounds one, to the point where like most toy people come from across the US to this one. Um, and it's a bunch of different vendors, right? Tons of different vendors in this huge area. Like you've got like actual stores that come. You've got people who, small they rent out a table, they do different things. There's a whole gamut of stuff. We always joke because there's like 4 or 5 outdoor sections, and then there's one indoor garagey type looking thing. It's at like a farm place. And then the other one's like a big like showroom. But the showroom has a hallway that connects the two buildings. And for whatever reason, they always put the doll people in that hallway. It's like a big enough hallway. It's not like a thin hallway. But in this hallway, you've got dolls. Literally just dolls. And it's creepy as heck. And I know some people like that. Like I'm talking like the old school baby doll things or like Victorian era looking dolls. And I feel like that section has gotten smaller and smaller over the years to the point now where one of the one side is no longer even dolls. For some reason, it's the I can't remember. It's a third party company that sells stuff, but it's basically for store horsemen. So it's all of the mythic legions and all these kind of things. So it's funny that it's slowly phased out, but it always creeped me out. But where I was getting at is they had the past year or so now one group rent, like they get like 3 booths wide, right? Like a massive section, and they just do 3D printed stuff out the wazoo, like good massive print stuff, like making the giant life-size statues and things like that and painting them and doing all the wear and stuff. But they do Star Wars. Like 90% of it has been Star Wars. And so it's really cool now that that's become like a new staple at the show is these massive, like usually droids. Droids are easiest to do. But thinking of Grogu, there was an IG-88 with like the Grogu in him and stuff like that. Like it's cool looking. And then they even make like lamps and other weird things. Yeah, a life-size Master Chief. Anything with armor seems super cool because that seems easier to paint and it looks less fake. Like I feel like if you get like a fleshy human character, it'd be harder to sell that as like a hobbyist at least. Um but yeah, I follow some people who do a lot of Dragon Ball stuff. So they'll 3D print massive like Goku's or Vegeta's. One of my favorites was a life-size Cell, like perfect Cell, massive. Like perfect Cell, I think is like what, like 7.5 feet tall or something like that, lore wise. So similar to kind of the energy of Master Chief, probably. Actually, Master Chief isn't Master Chief 9 feet tall. Either I don't know. Cell was huge and it looked cool, and that's one that you can paint. I feel like and not look super dumb, right? Because people can paint pretty well. Like you look at all those custom paints when people do like they'll buy the Van Presto cheaper, like, oh, it's only like a $50 statue, but then they paint it like it's $1,000,000 then, right? Like they'll do that really good cell shading, make it super clean. So like when people do that, but on life-size scale, that's dope. And also that's time. One of my buddies also he's been doing 4K for years now, and 4K 40K. He does the miniature stuff too, and I've been deeper and deeper into just seeing stuff now of that because they'll share stuff and all now, you get it in your feed the more you look at it. And then after Space Marine came out, I got more into the lore than I should. I did buy one Joy toy figure of Space Marine. I don't think you can really see it. He's back there. It's like a what's the one with the shield and the sword, not Templar, whatever it is. The shield and sword guy. Looked cool. Bulwark. Yes, thank you. Oddly enough, I mentioned before, I don't know if you caught, I was trying to remember what the Halo is called because they've got the like war Halo things behind the bulwarks, and I said that's what it reminds me of here on Magneto. But yeah, the 40K community, anything with the way they paint, like I love watching when they paint effects, right? Like I saw one the other day of somebody painting it and it was like someone smoking a cigar, right? One of the guys, like one of the non-armored guys, legit just smoking a cigar, which on paper you're like, yeah, cool, he's smoking a cigar. But that means he painted the radiating glow of that cigar on the face, on a little bit of the chest, on the shoulder, like, or like when people do lightning as well, lightning looks amazing. I just, yeah, the like painting the characters is one thing, but when they paint it with the like surrounding effects that they exist then in that space, like holy, that's some skill. Especially because it's so itty bitty, man. Painting this big. Yeah, it's the detail for sure that sells it. Not gore for me. I don't do gore. Usually if I see them detailing gore, I'm like, and I'm out. I'm gonna go look at some cool lightning effects. I am not a person who enjoys watching anything with gore. I'm a little bit squeamish. So 9 times out of 10 people will recommend anime or different things like that, and it's like, ooh, but what's the gore level on that sucker? And that usually is like, yep, no, not for me. Thanks though. I grew up with Naruto and Dragon Ball and that kind of stuff. I want my censored for American viewer children purple blood and all that kind of stuff. Or if somebody gets their arm cut off, it's just Piccolo and he just grows it back, no big deal. So my problem I'm running into now is I made this shoulder smaller and moved it. So again, now the rings are in a weird spot. And again, some idiot named Britton deleted the template layer for it. So now do I extend this bigger to not, oops, to not tangent this? I don't know. Four, four kids lollipop instead of a cigarette. Yeah, like that's the energy I want, right? I don't want any nonsense. I just want my nice censor me four kids. Yeah, I love seeing the like reading about like how different Yu-Gi-Oh was and different things like that is pretty funny. That as a kid I was like, yeah, the Shadow Realm. Nah, it's death. Children just don't know how to handle death in the United States, apparently. So I'm really kicking myself for removing that layer now because I feel like none of these are looking right. I mean, yes, that's a fair point. I could easily make a new one, I suppose. I don't know why I'm complaining. That is a don't you dare hit me with logic. Okay, I could, I suppose, just quickly pop a new layer. Draw like a general circle. It's hard that it's like not exact though, but it is. I can kind of line it up then with just like one of these. And now it's not as clean and accurate, but it's at least better. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Okay, fine. In my infinite wisdom, yeah, I don't know, man. That's why you must get paid the big bucks. And I'm just sitting here drawing. So yes, thank you for this idea because now I can see generally a little bit more where the curve will be. It's not quite as exact as my other template that I had, but for a down and dirty quick way, this curve should read a little better than now with at least some sort of basis to work from. So we're getting awfully close here to this hand. I'm kind of okay with that because I don't like the hand anyway, so we can just make this like super busy. So if this area is really busy, then by contrast, the area up top by his hand and stuff is a little less busy. So it stands out different. Man, I'm so glad I had that great idea of just making a new template really quick and easy. I'm a genius. I'm just trying to fill in this space because it feels weird. And I know I've talked about it before. It's hard sometimes when you're working with random things to make something random look both random but visually appealing, right? And this is kind of where I'm running into that territory here where it's random, right? All these metal chunks and bits and bobs, right? But also it's still a visual piece that we're trying to sell how this looks. So you can't just do it super willy-nilly. It has to kind of have some sort of like appeal to it and rhythm and flow, but not so much rhythm and flow that it doesn't look organic. So it's a fine line. So that's why like this empty space, I wanted to fill it, but also I didn't want to fill it in such a way that it feels like forced. So I feel like if I build on a piece behind it and overlap heavily, that feels a little more natural and random. I really hope it's not like freezing cold. So if it's, is it supposed to snow all day, I wonder? I hope not. I wanted to go outside today. We'll see. I'll check the weather after stream and be disappointed or excited. I don't know. I'm also sick of walking. So, like, when I walk, obviously, I normally have my gym shoes, right? I've got two different pair. If it's crappy weather, I wear these Nikes. They're like running shoe Nikes I got from the outlet. Were pretty cheap, right? They weren't that expensive. I don't like them that much, but they're fine. So if it's like kind of crappy weather and I don't mind, like if they get wet or something like that, Nikes. However, I also, thanks to, speaking of infinite wisdom of my better half, she stressed that I get Brooks, the nice, like, nice walking shoes, right? Walking shoes makes me sound like an old man, but like for hiking and that kind of stuff too and all that stuff. And I was always like, nah, those are expensive. I like going to the Nike outlet and getting my stuff for cheap. So of course she just bought a pair and said, try them on. And I was fully equipped mentally. You know when you go into something and you're kind of like, this is gonna be trash. They are nice, and that's where I'm getting. I put them on, and in my head, I was so ready to be like, yeah, we can return them. I don't need them for this price, right? Like $170 or something when I get my Nikes at the outlet for like 45, right? And I go through shoes a lot is my problem because I go for walks every day, like every day, every day, every day. So I'm hitting like 10K minimum steps a day just because I go for like my long, long walks every day. I'm a dog. I've said this before. I need my food, my regimented food, just like a dog. I need my walks and I need my playtime. That's it. That makes me a happy boy. Not as good of a boy as Sif, but a good boy. But so I walk so much, I didn't want to keep a pair that's that expensive. Though the logic is also pretty flawed in that, like, okay, if you walk that much, maybe you should have a nice pair. And you know what? The world was right. And I put them on, and I immediately, my girlfriend gave me this look of like, she gave me that, like, one of those. The eyebrow, that smug smile. Everybody has their own. But you know the smug smile. That, like, I know. And she gave me that look, and I was like, you don't know. I stepped into a beautiful cloud for walking, and I couldn't go back. And so now I've got my really nice Brooks that I go for walks with every time. And yet now, with this weather, I don't want to wear nearly $200 shoes in the snow. Also because it like doesn't have the same kind of traction for the snow, right? So I've been wearing like my big snow boots on my walks. But if you're wearing massive boots for like long walks every day, and I'm not doing, keep in mind, like 9 times out of 10, if it's not the summer, I'm just walking around my neighborhood. Neighborhood's a big, nice, pretty neighborhood with a lot of trees, all that kind of stuff, but it's still relatively flat. And there's something about walking on flat ground, trying not to slip on ice with massive boots that like my shins are shot because there's so much extra torque on them every step I take. And so I'm so ready to just be able to wear normal, my good old Brooks again and enjoy the weather. Alas, that is not today, though. Not even close to today. Ew. I'm about to ban you from chat. Crocs, get out of here. Get out of here. No, I will not allow that. That hate speech. I think that's one of my rules. No hate speech. I'm pretty sure Croc talk is hate speech. Okay? I can't have it. I can't have it. I'll never do it. I don't know if you could ever convince me. That's a hard sell, my friend. I'm so sorry. No crocking way, you know what I mean? Can't croc, won't croc. Is that a saying the kids say? Is that it? I'm not gonna lie, I will understand that, like, so when I'm at my parents' house, they Riz. Yeah. At my parents' house, I know they've got like a pair of Crocs. Like, I don't know if it's my mom or my dad's, I don't even know. Um, by the back door. And so like when I'm at my parents' house and I need to run outside for something, I have thrown on that pair of Crocs just to step outside. And I will say they're easy as hell to throw on. But that's where that's where it ends. I can't do it. I just can't. Not in public, not in, I don't know, I just can't do it. I've seen, and especially now, I see kids wear them at the gym all the time, and I'm just like, get out of here. Again, talk about boomer vibes. I'm just like, get out of here, you children and your Crocs. That's not safe. You need thicker shoes at the gym. And also, it smells. Again, if it was something that I didn't have to wear them in public, maybe. But yeah, no, kids wearing Crocs at the gym bugs me because, like, again, not only is it like a hideous and a slight safety thing, it's also smellier. Like, bro, your feet are just hanging out. Like, you can't wear sandals at the gym, right? But in my mind, those are sandals. I mean, yes, there's some Crocs that aren't like the same, but like those are essentially sandals, the standard Croc. And so like I've seen kids like pop their Crocs off when they're sitting at like a machine and fiddle with their feet. That would be hilarious. Yeah, I wear little shoe covers. It's still foul. It's still your foot, man. Feet, feet don't, feet don't. Just no, I can't. Okay, so I think he's. I'm just noodling the hell since I didn't want to do any color work today. I'm apparently just gonna noodle the hell out of this thing until it looks fine enough as I just do this a billion times over. Look, I've changed every little detail just so it looks cleaner and avoiding doing the part I didn't want to do. What if we make his head? Speaking of needlessly changing things with no real reason. What if we make his head smaller? I want him to feel beefier. And I feel like I've talked about it before that like you make something smaller. You don't have to make the thing bigger. You have to make the surrounding things smaller. I think if I just shrink his head a little bit. That sells how beefy he is, right? Kind of. It's like a weird goatee. I know I noted that before. It's shaped kind of like his helmet, his old helmet, like but like an inverse of his helmet, which is kind of cool. Smart. So we do like a hard cut in, go down, and then we'd see it come back like that, right? Yeah. It also kind of mirrors the energy of like this cross thing. Again, I don't know the name of it. The weird looking cross that I drew a while ago. Similar energy. So is it just me, or when you draw or think of a character, you just you hear their voice? Like there's times where I'm sitting here drawing and my brain just says things in like Magneto voice. Like in my head, I just hear him saying like random phrases. I don't know why. And there's a show that I watch, it's called Silo, and it has Common in it. He's got such a cool voice, right? I love his voice. But he also, there's a character in the show whose name is Lucas Kyle. I'm not going to spoil anything. I highly recommend anyone go watch Silo. 10 out of 10 show. And my brain randomly, because the way Common says his name's Sims in the show. Lucas Kyle. Like the way he says Lucas Kyle, I literally was making protein the other day, just making lunch, and my brain just went, Lucas Kyle. Just because I like the way his voice sounds, and saying certain things like triggers a weird like reaction in my brain that is like, this is good. I like this sound. And so it's the same idea too. Like when I'm drawing and making stuff with characters, or if I'm looking at something, my brain just like says a thing that they would do or say because that's just how it works. Lucas Kyle. Again, that show, finale was Friday. I usually don't watch when they'd air. I'd watch them on Mondays then. So I watched the finale last night. If that sucker was not geared up, so they've already announced that was the end of season 2. They've announced seasons 3 and 4 will exist, and that'll be the conclusion of the story, right? So I appreciate when a team knows that, hey, I know what we're working with. This is I can go 4 seasons, right? They can tell the story they want to tell, and they can conclude the story that they want to tell. So if they didn't have that information to the public, and I was still wondering if there was going to be another season, I would have hated this finale, because it's one of those ones where it answers half a question. I wouldn't even say it answered one question, right? It didn't tie up any end. It just introduced like 1,000 more. Like 1,000 more loose ends. So I was just like, okay, but I know there's more coming. So am I anxious now to see the rest? 1,000%. But it's okay, because I know there's going to be more. It's not like some Netflix scenario where you don't know, it's lost to the ether. Maybe they'll make another season, maybe they won't. At least I know, okay, they left us with like so many questions, but barring some crazy circumstance, they will be answered. And yes, before anyone, oh gosh, not quite a Lost season ending, not quite that, or series ending for that matter. Not quite to that extent. It was one where like it resolved things by answering questions almost, but the questions didn't get resolved enough. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's great though. You know how I can explain it? Go watch it. It's only 2 seasons right now, and I think it's like 8 episode seasons. So they're not like, it's not Lost where each season was 24 episodes and an hour long each. Like, you can cruise through by with this one. But yeah, they answered nothing in my mind. And now I'm just like left so wondering what's going on. But man, is it such a good show. Such a good show. And the best part about the show though, like, is that you get to hear Lucas Kyle. But it's worth the wait, because Lucas Kyle doesn't really get introduced until later. But he's kind of I didn't really like detail much of the hair, did I? When I first did this, I just kind of plopped it in, but the idea is there. It kind of reminds me of like Geralt's hair a little bit. He's got Witcher vibes to his hair, where it does the like pull back here and then down. Ted Lasso is talking about Sif, right? We mentioned Good Boy. I feel like Ted Lasso is the equivalent of Goodest Boy. Like, that show is that energy. And I love it. So any excuse, yeah, if you could watch Ted Lasso again, 100%. Yeah, he really is. Does that make Sif a diamond dog, just like in Ted Lasso? But no, if you don't, so it's one of those things where I used to always watch sci-fi, right? Like Sci-Fi the channel. And I loved all that sci-fi would produce when we started getting into streaming and different things like that, because there was more and more sci-fi content. My go-to type of, believe indeed, the go-to show genre of choice is sci-fi. Like, if you give me a science fiction show, it can be garbage and I'll probably still sit through and watch a good amount. That said, I never would have expected that Apple TV now is kind of the go-to spot for science fiction. Like, there's a lot of good sci-fi that they have been just cranking out. Obviously, like I just said, Silo is top notch. Silo is based off of a book series. Apparently, I only read comics, but it is based off of a book. And there's also another one based off of a book that then any old science fiction nerd would know that it's a Foundation. Foundation, oh, that show, I tell you what, that's some good stuff right there. But yeah, there's just weirdly a lot of science fiction that is being pumped out by Apple of all people. And so whenever anybody I know likes science fiction, I urge them to get and or keep the Apple membership. I was not someone who really cared to ever get Apple TV until I had Apple TV. And then that's all like I love it. Monarch was on that too. I forgot. That was great. I'm a Godzilla nerd, so like giving me a TV show for Godzilla. Yes, please. But yeah, I could go on and on. There's so many things. And then yeah, Ted Lasso. I've been hearing great things about Severance and I can't remember the other show with Jason Segel or whatever and Harrison Ford. I mean, I don't know for sure if that's what happened, but I could totally see that. I'm trying to think because Shrinking, yes, there we go. Because I'm pretty sure in the show, I'm trying to remember without spoiling, there is a massive time jump, so that would make sense. I feel like it's easy to just be like, yep, and you're dead now. New story. Also, Dune Prophecy is pretty solid. It starts off kind of slow. Speaking of like old books and old science fiction, Dune Prophecy was one that the first episode I was not vibing like at all. I was like, well, I'll watch it because it's Dune stuff, like taking place 10,000 years before the Shai Hulud and all that kind of stuff. But it's only 6 episodes, weirdly enough. That doesn't really give it a lot of time to breathe, to grow, but it's definitely one that, yeah, it does not start off strong. I did not think it was worth it, but I stuck with it because I like the source. Like, I like that stuff. I like that world. And I would say I was not excited to see a second season on the first 2 episodes. I was like, yeah, okay. If it finishes this season, it's a single story, I'll be cool with that. I'll be done. But now I'm pretty invested in the characters and the world that they've built. And I think it was like episode 3 that really like solidified it for me, that it got like, ooh. And I hate doing that recommendation. Well, if you sit through the garbage, it gets better. Like, but unfortunately, you're telling a story. It needs to, sometimes it needs to be slow. I'm not giving that as an excuse, but like sometimes slow burns do help it feel better. But I've enjoyed it and I'm looking forward. I'm assuming it's getting more. I don't think that actually got any confirmation one way or the other about further seasons, but like I'm just noodling the hell out of this. I don't even know what time it is. It's probably getting late. You all shows the 3 episode. Okay, well that's good because I'm pretty sure it was the 3rd episode that was pretty dope. So that should fit your rule, 100%. And it's not to say episodes 1 and 2 were bad. It just, I feel like it didn't have an identity. You know how sometimes shows struggle to feel like you don't know what the feel is going to be. Like they don't really capture it until later. But here again, I'm just noodling with the hair. Nothing. It's like a little kid who should be studying, who's not. And that's kind of what's happening here. I'm just kind of making his lines look more accurate and clean. Ish. Speaking of, I know I mentioned Monarch on Apple. I know Fortnite is not it's become almost like a meme game where people love to hate on Fortnite, but it's also one of the largest games in the world. And I still play it quite regularly, and holy cow, the Godzilla event right now. So there's an event in Fortnite where basically a portal spawns, and there's a chance the portal will spawn. It doesn't always. Gosh darn it. Yeah, the fact that that's become a meme, my little sister does that to me all the time. Like every time I mention a character, she'll be like, "You mean the one from Fortnite? Oh my gosh." And I'm just like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But yes, Godzilla from Fortnite. The event though is pretty wild that like it's a battle royale, right? You're playing a battle royale, you know the game type, you know the mode. But when they introduce stuff that feels so like seamlessly organic in the gameplay and yet so weird. I just so basically they introduced a mechanic where there's a percent chance that a portal will spawn and everyone will be alerted of the existence of this portal, right? When the portal spawns, the first person to walk through that portal becomes Godzilla. Like actual massive Godzilla. The audio plays, you have like a flying down from the sky, and you are a crater in the ground of Godzilla now. In the map of everyone else just playing a battle royale with 99 people trying to win. So you've got this weird dichotomy of a battle royale game that now suddenly you've got Godzilla just literally stomping around, using his gamma blast, doing his heat race, all these things, destroying entire points of interest and breaking across everything. And even when you're not super near it, that iconic screech sound, you can hear it from like across the map. It is unbelievably satisfying to hear that. And I absolutely love that. Like it's seamless though. That's what I'm saying. Like you're playing the game and you could essentially just kind of avoid it if the as best as you can, I guess. But also if you want to engage, suddenly you're just fighting Godzilla. Like a bunch of you are just fighting Godzilla. You're just shooting Godzilla down as he's trying to blast you and kill you. And the person, mechanically, how it fits into the game then is mechanically whoever does the most damage on the person who is playing as Godzilla, whoever did the most at the time of death then gets kind of like the loot. So they get like the medallion for Godzilla and stuff like that, which allows them to, it's like an extra mobility thing and stuff like that. So like there's gameplay incentive for the battle royale part to fight and engage with this content. But also, why would you not? Because it's Godzilla. Like, I don't know, man. I get bored here and there of Fortnite, but I will commend them that when they add some of this big stuff, it really works. And I never would have thought that it would work as well. I never would have guessed that like playing as Godzilla in a game like that would make sense even, let alone be really cool and feel iconic still. Like I feel like a lot of stuff in games when they get ported or there's crossovers or collaborations, they kind of lose the identity, right? And that's easy to do because you have a very specific intellectual property that exists in their world, right? So it exists as Godzilla, right? Godzilla exists in Godzilla stories. So the stories that they tell always feel centered around the kaiju and other, things like that and the Titans. Whereas you're like, okay, it's Fortnite. It's going to feel like random as hell, but somehow it works. Somehow it does. That's not to say they nail it every time. There's been a handful of collabs that feel kind of weird. But on a whole, I'd say more often than not, they do quite a bit of justice to the source material, and they do capture the feel pretty well. Like when they added Goku and the Dragon Ball collab, and the flying Nimbus wasn't an item, like, and you could jump up and summon the flying Nimbus, and then it literally has that little audio. If you know Dragon Ball, you know that audio sound, and when you hear it, it just works. And the way that they had their shaders for the cell shading of it looked so clean. It made the little puttery sound as you're flying on it. I don't know. It's just so wild when they can take something that exists in its own world in its own unique way, suddenly be like, oh yeah, now it's in Fortnite, and it makes sense, and it's fun and it's efficient. Is it also random as hell that, you know, you've got Snoop Dogg or Mariah Carey or all these weird things sometimes? 1000%. I can see how it's become a meme. However, I feel like the meme aspect of it shadows the fact that, like, they're doing dope stuff that, like, other games have never done before in a multiplayer magnitude, especially like a live service multiplayer experience. That said, am I stoked every day when I get to play Marvel Rivals? Pfft, yes, game's gorgeous. Game is gorgeous, and I love competitive games. I feel like Fortnite has no longer become competitive for me. That we all just play it for, like, the chill time, right? We're just hanging out. But when I get to play my Marvel Rivals, that's my, like, okay. Especially when I play it solo. I solo queue ranked. I get mad that I get dingus teammates. Occasionally I am the dingus teammate. I'm aware of this. But yeah, video games are cool. I guess that's the that was my takeaway of that rant, I guess. Video games are pretty cool if you didn't know. You were none the wiser on the this world of video games that we have. So I'm trying to figure out, like, where I want, like, a little bit of his. I don't know what you call these, frankly. It's not bangs then, obviously, but it's like your flyaways, kind of. Like the hair that goes from the ear kind of forward that plays. It's like a neck bang. That sounds weird. Let's not use the term neck bang, actually. Let's evolve that. They're not neck bangs. They are um I don't know. Can we think of a better word than neck bang? I now that's stuck in my head and I can't stop saying it. The neck banger. The front hair bits. The hair crocs. I don't know, man. We'll workshop it. We'll think of a better name at one point, hopefully. Unless we just, you know what, we trademark neck bang. I can't. I can't say that. I can't say that. I don't know. I marked my stream as, you know, not intended for children. Thank you. That's what it'll be called, the neck bangs. Surely there's a better word. I don't like it. Also, I don't even like the way that neck bang looks. It's too conforming to the shape of the collar. I kind of want it to feel more contrasting down. So what if we have it come down, his good old neck bang, come down, kind of go behind the chin, and then it can come back out. Go like that, I think. Would read a little better to contrast the collar bit. Because right now when I blocked it in, it looked too samey, and it's hard to tell what it was. But if we neck bang the heck out of this, oh gosh, I'm gonna get like a weird strike on the channel for neck bangs. Everybody knows nobody neck bangs uniformly. It's not an exact science. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this way then it's kind of looks like it is falling off of this big collar that he's got. Kind of, right? Nah, it goes away too much. Now it doesn't even look like a so what we'll do is we'll have it swoop this way. It looks like way too hard of an angle, like it's genuinely folding, which seems weird. So we'll just do a smooth curve like that. Should look better. What do we think of this good old neck bang? That's a neck bang if I've ever seen one. But then do we have a flowy neck bang over here? Is that what this is that I drew already from before? The remnant, the relic of my initial sketch. I already knew it was neck. You already know what time it is. Neck bang. Okay. I'm done beating that horse. It does look fine though, right? Yeah. I wonder if we tighten up this though. So it does it right now it feels like it's coming really far off of the side of his head. And it's pretty tight more so. I have it more like balloonous and bulbous, but really like yes, he has nice long hair, but it's also like old man. So it's like thin and silver. So it's not like he's got some big old fro going on or anything. The shape feels funny to me. Like I just said, he's got thin hair, and I think that's what's going wrong. I'm used to making like thick and thin clumps, because that's kind of how you balance the hair. But it definitely needs to stay thin. What am I thinking for lunch? I'm thinking the same thing I eat for lunch every day, because I told you I'm like a dog. I just have my pre-made dog food that I buy from the store, and somebody puts it in a bowl for me, and I eat it. And by that somebody who puts it in a bowl for me, it's me. My lunch every day is, unless, barring some weird scenario, is my gold standard whey protein. And it is the extreme milk chocolate. If you get the double milk chocolate, it's basically the equivalent of wearing Crocs, right? Like, don't do it. Like you could do it, but you shouldn't. The extreme milk chocolate, very different flavor palette. Extreme milk chocolate, not available at like most retail. So like, yeah, I do. There's never enough whey in my protein. We were watching a Scooby-Doo episode the other day, and it was like Freddy looked homeless, and there was a character who was like a protein bodybuilder guy. It was supposed to be the dude from Twilight, a play off of him, the werewolf kid. And oh no. Oh no. Oh gosh, get out of here. Wearing Crocs at work even? The apocalypse is now. No, I know. You haven't given a poop about Crocs. And I feel like that's the nature you kind of have to have. If you're gonna wear Crocs, you gotta rock it. Ooh, Haunted Mansion ones are probably really cute though. I bet that looks good. But yeah, anyway, I already forgot what I was saying. Oh, but he literally gives he gives the homeless looking guy, he's like, here, I got food for you. It's my whey protein. It was just a bag of whey protein. And Baylor Hotner, yes, that was the name. Good memory there. Baylor, because it's supposed to be Taylor Lautner. That's what it was. Baylor Hotner. And he gives Freddie a bag of protein, of whey protein, and I lost. I was like, that is absolutely golden. But anyway, so that's basically I get my gold standard whey protein. I get my PB2, the powdered peanut stuff. I get some vanilla almond milk, and I mix that all together into like a thicker, like a paste type thing. And then I have my bananas that I freeze, and I put those in it, and bingo bango, my protein lunch. And then I've got my wonderful technique of once it's over, there's remnants of this pasty protein mix all in the bowl. But how do you eat it, you ask, right? How does this not go to waste? I'll tell you how. You take Aldi brand bran flakes, because again, I'm a boring nerd. I got my Aldi brand bran flakes mixed with raisin bran because there's too many raisins in their raisin bran. And I make a tiny bowl of cereal and I mix it up so that it kind of like melts away the extra bit of protein that got stuck on the bowl. And boom, maximum protein intake. Also, I just realized there's 3 of you nerds here right now. I think one of the Twitch things is to have 5 people chatting at once. So I have my other accounts right now, so I don't look like a loser. But like, I'm gonna do this kind of stuff. Look, it's my other account, everyone. Don't look at this. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. How do I do it on here though? Sawdust needs more sawdust. Yeah, same energy, I know. How do I look at chat on my phone? Oh. I know. Please don't. You already let everyone know of the secrets that I was telling earlier. Can't I'm like a magician. You can't expose them all. So yeah, the Britain Watches is my initial Twitch account, and I kind of wish I had transferred that. I didn't remember which was which when I was making accounts, and that account was golden because that's my old account that has like all of my stuff linked to it. So it has like all of my extra emote stuff and all of my other bits and bobs. As you can see, the little verses and all that stuff. So a fool I was for making a new account from scratch for this BrittonDraws, but here we are. Okay. So to recap today, I just noodled the heck out of this and did not feel like coloring it, and I just made all the details more clean. But I also don't mind it because it looks a lot better now. The hand reads better, so I oomphed up the hand. I redid the head a little bit, shrunk it, completely reworked the size and position of this hand, redid the shoulder to make it fit more in space. Keep in mind, if anybody looks back, I had the brilliant idea because I removed this guideline for the concentric circles. I accidentally deleted it. Yes, I deleted the template, came up with a new phrase neckbang, and we also reviewed the sideshow apple and learned of its disappearance and honored it. We gave it a Viking funeral and had a whole discussion on the sideshow apple. That's things. And I learned about some Monster Hunter creatures, a giant chompy chunky boy that I will draw at a later date. So I think the game comes out sooner than later, right? I think that game comes out February. So that probably should be sooner on the docket, actually. And okay, so it's the end of the month that game comes out. So I've got a little bit of time. Not a lot, but at least a little before. Oh, crap. I like how this was supposed to look like his mask shape, but I've just made it look like an M now when I simplified it. It works both ways, right? It's M for Magneto. He's pompous. He wants you to know. M is for Magneto. Technically, I think this has a big X, right? In the spot there. I don't know if I feel like this is gonna look ugly. So I think I'll just like fake it and put like wrinkles. I don't want the X in there. X gonna give it to you. All right, well, I think I've run out of things I can noodle. Like, I'm genuinely out of things to make up that I can do on this and lollygag. So I don't know what to do now because I've been avoiding coloring it, and it is 12. How about this? I'm going to put down colors at least just to see, like, let's make a color palette for him. Let's at the very least do that. So let's take a peek at Magneto here on, let's focus more on his character. So let's look here. He's basically black and gold and red. But if you notice, his black is green, right? So they've got a very painterly art style in Marvel Rivals, and they use presumably like more of a gouache kind of style of paint. So if you look, there's green accents throughout, even in his gray and dark grayish black, right? And then in the highlights on the armor, you can see some greens, some greens. And then in his gauntlet, there's a hint of blue, right? To make it a cooler color, I think, to balance out the hands. So how do we want to work that? So it's definitely a greenish gray. So let's just make a new layer real quick and just plop some colors down for fun, just so we've got an idea. I'll try and maybe paint off stream and rack my brain and do some of that kind of stuff and see how it can look. But for now, let's at least just play with colors before I make my beautiful, beautiful protein mix. So the golds we want to work with, gold is a weird one because you can make gold 1,000 different ways. But like different shades of gold. So I kind of, let's plop all the colors on a little thing together so we can just see how they mix together. So if we have like a gold like that, if we pull a gray color, but with a hint of green in the gray, just a smidge, right? So there's a little bit of green in that. And I think that'll look good because then we can paint the shadow still with like a darker, more saturated, like a less saturated green to it, more gray. I think those look good. And then you need like that. It's like two different reds though, right? We've got a more of a deeper maroon-ish, has like a hint of purple if we look at his cape. Definitely has like a little bit of purple in the cape. So if we pull just a smidge, let's see what this looks like. So that could be that. I like that look for the cape. That's a good red. But then the gems on him are like ruby red, right? They are very almost primary color energy of a red. So then if it has that little pop of this, so that's actually the color that'll jump out. And then his skin tone, he is a pale man, but like a decent tan. So let's look at, I just keep right here, if you see on my Procreate here, I just keep it's a skin, that sounds weird, but like it's just a big whole thing here, a palette of different skin colors, skin tones. So it's easy to pull from. So I don't have to like reinvent the wheel every time. So I can just kind of peek and think like, what is a skin tone that seems to match this type of energy? So I think he's more of this, right? He's a little pale. And he, instead of having, if we look at his face, his paleness actually becomes a little gray because they're alluding to like a 5 o'clock shadow, it seems like, if you look really close. So I wonder if we do something more like this then. Does that, I don't like that. So let's take this color and have a little bit of a, ooh, way too much. Just add like a little less saturation to it and see what that looks like. That's not terrible. And then his hair is a silver. Very, very, I think that silver is pretty strongly just, there's a little bit of blue highlighting in it, but it's not like a silver that weighs itself more towards like a green or a blue or anything. Usually what I'll do is metal. Metal exists in a very cool color palette. So metal in my mind, I always like to put blue. So there's always a little bit of blue in silver if it's going to be a metal, but a hair color silver is a bit more neutral in my mind. It's not quite as um cold of a color. It's but it's not really a warm color either. So like if you make it like a warmer silver like this, it ends up looking like muddy, kind of like the darker skin tone. So silvers I like to keep pretty desaturated of all other hues. That silver doesn't look too bad. So like just in a quick little glimpse, you can see the energy of the colors. Is there anything else? So I can't even see what color eyes does Magneto have. Don't know. I'm pretty sure they're blue, right? Yeah, they're blue in these, so but they don't look blue in this. Does he change eye color in House of M? Is that a thing? I don't remember that being a thing. Oh, okay. So his belt, if we look, is a okay. So the belt here, the inner part of the belt, is a little bit of blue. So this gray exists as gray and green and then gray and blue. So there's two instances of the blue. So let's play with that then. So if we had the gray and green, now what would we do for gray and blue? So just kind of keep it where we were with the gray, right? The straight gray and gray and blue, but it's not, it does have like almost like a tealish blue. It's not pure blue. So let's lean a little bit of green in there. And let's see what this color looks like in contrast to everything else. That's a little light for what I think it should be. It's a dark, still a dark gray, but with like a very soft hint of blue. But again, it's like a tealish, so I feel like I need to go even closer to the green still. Okay, I kind of like that color. So like, is that too cool though? So moving it a little more towards the warmness of the green, just a little more, because then when you put the colors together, you can see it didn't flow as nicely. Like it felt a little too cool. So if we warm it up a little bit, I think I like the look of that. So then when I'm painting later, the idea is like if you zoom out and you squint, right? Like what is the color guide itself? So like in movies and in film and stuff, they actually have like they are not just storyboards, they have color boards. So it's like what is the energy of the color? Like if you squint, what does that picture look like? You know, what is the color, what is the energy, what is the mood? And that's kind of before I color stuff, it makes it a lot easier if you just kind of do that for your own little bit, right? So I see already now that all of these colors should work together, right? These should be fine. I like the way that these all work. They do not feel like they're disparate parts. It's nice and warm generally, but then the gold will have a little bit of coolness and that red then will pop even more because it'll be in solid contrast to that. So it is already 12:50. So my timeline does always say 12:30 that the stream's supposed to go to, but I do like going over because I have a problem. However, that doesn't mean my stomach is not grumbling and wants to eat. So I think we'll end there. I think maybe later today, if I have time, I'll try and sit on my own and blop in some color or maybe do some line work or something like that. The boring stuff that's not like problem solving on stream, you know? But we shall see. Or maybe I'll just say, screw it. And tomorrow we draw somebody different, like completely different. Or we just do another Magneto, but not quite sure. I think this is a good spot to stop though. So that said, it is Wednesday. So tomorrow, whoopsies. Tomorrow I'll be back on in the morning as always, 10:30 a.m. Central. And then I will probably be, gaming. I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, my evening or afternoon gaming parts. So I will do Marvel Rivals tomorrow afternoon, but the week after, 100% gonna be the new Orcs Must Die. Um, so that'll be a fun one. But for now, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna go eat some lunch, have my delicious protein. Um, Maybe eat a sideshow apple if I have one in the house, and call it there. So thanks for sticking around. I'll see everybody tomorrow, and until then, be kind, kick butt.